There are days in the calendar that hold a different weight. September 20th, 2025 is one of them. On this day, a simple bowl of salt water becomes more than water and salt. It becomes a mirror, a ritual, a doorway. Place your name inside it, and you are not just writing letters, you are calling your spirit to step forward. Salt has been carried across deserts, offered at temples, sealed into ancient covenants. Warriors once purified their blades with it before battle. Monks used it to cleanse the body and the mind. And today, you are invited into that same lineage, not through legend but through practice. Placing your name in water may appear small, almost ordinary. But Shaolin teaches that the smallest gesture done with awareness carries the greatest force. Your outward act is the reflection of your inner vow. If your heart is unsettled, the water shows it. If your spirit is ready, the salt clears the path. In this video, you will discover why this ritual on this exact day holds rare power. You will learn how it ties into ancient methods of purification, how it sharpens discipline, and how it dissolves the hidden weights you no longer need to carry. You will also see why Shaolin wisdom never separates the physical from the spiritual, why even this simple act can spark transformation when done with presence. Stay with me until the end, because the final steps of this practice reveal something most people overlook. It is not only about cleansing, it is about reclaiming the name you place in the water. Welcome to Shaolin Soulfire. If you seek inner mastery and timeless wisdom, join our journey. Subscribe now and walk this path with us. There is a reason the sea never clings to what enters it. The waves carry it away, leaving the shore clean again. Salt water teaches us this. Hold lightly, release fully. When you place salt into water, it vanishes, but not without purpose. It spreads through every drop, unseen yet present. So it is with the burdens we carry. Regrets, old wounds, the echo of failure. These dissolve only when you release them into something greater than yourself. The act is quiet, but its effect reaches deep. In Chan Buddhism, the root of Shaolin, detachment is not about indifference. It is not turning cold or hard. It is learning not to grip so tightly that you bleed. To detach is to trust that what has served its time must move on. Like a leaf falling from the branch, it is not death but renewal. Think of the ego. It whispers, hold on, protect, defend. It builds walls around your spirit. But every wall is also a cage. The salt in its way becomes a key. By naming yourself and letting the salt touch that name, you symbolically hand over these walls to the water. The ego softens. Space opens. Shaolin training has always been this, emptying the unnecessary so the essential can remain. A master does not clutch at victories or defeats. He bows to both, then lets them go. The hand that is always closed can grasp nothing new. Only an open palm can receive. When you watch the grains of salt disappear, see in it a reflection of your own journey. Dissolving is not loss, it is transformation. In still water, your past scatters, and in that clearing, something unspoken prepares to emerge. Great rivers are not formed by sudden floods, but by countless drops of water flowing without end. The same truth lives in your practice. The small act of placing your name in water may seem insignificant, but it carries the weight of discipline. It is not about the grandeur of the moment. It is about showing up again and again with steady hands and a steady heart. Shaolin tradition reminds us that mastery is never built on one dramatic victory. It is carved into the body and the spirit through repetition, through the rhythm of daily effort. Every stance held at dawn, every controlled breath, every bead of sweat, these are the bricks of the temple within. Great peaks are reached, not in leaps, but in steps taken with patience. This ritual is like those steps. Each time you place your name into the water, you are not just writing letters, you are engraving commitment into your own awareness. You remind yourself, I choose discipline over distraction, I choose presence over neglect. The water becomes a mirror of your inner state, and the salt becomes the silent witness to your persistence. There is power in repetition. Even the simplest gesture, performed with intention, can reshape the spirit. A bow, a breath, a step across the threshold, done daily, they build an unshakable core. The world may look for spectacle, but wisdom lives in the ordinary. The warrior who trains in silence holds more strength than the one who performs in noise. So let this act become your touchstone, not because of its size, but because of its constancy. In a single name placed in water day after day, you discover the true meaning of mastery, steady, faithful, and unbroken. A ritual becomes alive only when the mind enters it fully. If your hand moves quickly, without thought, it is just a motion. But if you slow down, notice the coolness of the water, the roughness of salt, the shape of each letter in your name, suddenly the ordinary becomes sacred. Shaolin practice has always been rooted in this presence. A stance is not only a posture, it is awareness of weight pressing into the earth, of breath rising and falling like a tide, of silence filling the space between heartbeats. In the same way, this ritual is not about salt or water alone. It is about learning to be here completely without rushing to the next moment. When you give yourself to presence, clarity begins to open. You see the difference between what is real and what is only habit. The mind often runs on patterns, repeating thoughts, reflexes, worries. But in the stillness of awareness, those patterns reveal themselves. You notice where your body tenses, where your breath shortens, where your thoughts wander. Awareness is the first step to mastery. Ancient teachers spoke of this as sharpening the blade. A dull blade cuts nothing, but a sharpened one moves through with ease. Presence sharpens the spirit the same way. Each time you return to awareness of water, of salt, of name, you polish the edge of your inner blade. This practice, though small, trains the same discipline as years of meditation or martial form. It is about living each second with intention. Even the act of placing a name into water can reveal a whole universe if the mind is steady enough to see it. Presence is not only in temples, it is wherever you choose to give your full attention. There is power in writing your own name. It is not just a mark of identity, it is a declaration of presence. When you place your name into the water, you are not repeating what the world has called you. You are affirming what you choose to stand for. Too often, people carry names like chains. They carry the weight of their past, of labels given by family, by society, by failure. They begin to live as if these labels are the full story. But the path of mastery does not accept such limits. To place your name in water is to reclaim it. It is to say, I am no longer a prisoner of the past, no longer a victim of what was. I am author, I am choice, I am becoming. In the Shaolin tradition, every strike, every bow, every silence is conscious. Nothing is accidental. This is the discipline of identity, not letting your life be shaped only by what has been handed to you, but shaping it with your own hands, breath by breath. To know who you are is to decide it with clarity, and then to live it with consistency. Think of water. It takes the shape of whatever vessel it enters, yet it never loses its essence. It is soft, yet it wears away stone. It adapts, yet it endures. This is the lesson for identity. You may live among many forms, in changing seasons and trials, but at your core, you must know your name, your truth. When you let the salt water hold your name, you are not asking for permission, you are standing in ownership. The ritual becomes a mirror, and in it, you see not who the world said you were, but who you are choosing to be now. When the water ripples around your name, something inside you may ripple as well. Old memories rise, doubts whisper, fears tighten their grip. This is not a mistake. Discomfort is the sign that you are stepping closer to the edge of change. Shaolin tradition has never sought the easy road. Training was built on long hours of silence, on aching muscles, on the mind's rebellion against discipline. Yet through every test, a truth was revealed. Resistance is not an enemy, it is a teacher. The pain of the stance, the burn of the breath, the trembling of the body, all of these refine the spirit. Without resistance, there is no strength. So when shame surfaces, see it clearly. Do not hide from it. Shame only grows in shadow, but in the light of awareness, it begins to dissolve. When fear speaks, listen closely. Fear points to the doorway you have not yet walked through. When doubt lingers, face it. Doubt asks you to deepen your conviction. to choose once more who you will be. This ritual is not meant to soothe you into comfort. It is meant to call forth what you usually bury. Salt water stings when it touches a wound, but the sting is part of healing. So too with the hidden corners of your spirit, they must be exposed before they can be freed. Transformation is not soft or gentle. It is a fire that burns away what cannot last. It is the storm that clears the air. To bring your name to water, knowing discomfort may follow, is already an act of courage. Each grain of salt, each stirring of doubt, each rising of fear is part of the refining. And from that refining, a clearer, stronger self begins to emerge. A bowl of water may appear empty, yet it holds an entire teaching. Look closely, it does not rush, it does not resist, it simply rests. In stillness, the surface becomes a mirror. In stillness, the depth becomes clear. To mirror water is to learn calm presence. The world around you demands speed, noise, and constant movement, but a mind always running cannot see its own path. Shaolin wisdom teaches that stillness is not absence of strength, it is its foundation. The tree does not grow tall by chasing the wind. It grows by sinking roots into the quiet soil. When you sit before water with salt and name, you enter a pause that few allow themselves. This pause is not wasted time, it is sharpening time. Just as a blade must rest against the stone to regain its edge, the spirit must rest in silence to recover its clarity. Only then can action be precise, purposeful, and unshaken. Stillness in practice is discipline. It is not sleep or laziness, it is presence so complete that no distraction survives. The monks who trained for hours in meditation were not escaping the world. They were preparing to meet it with unbreakable focus. In the same way, this ritual is not escape. It is cultivation. Water shows you how to hold both softness and strength. It yields, yet it carves valleys through mountains. It appears gentle, yet it carries oceans within. By placing your name into water, you allow yourself to touch that balance. You give space for calm to root, for strength to grow in silence. From stillness, true power rises. And like the water, it moves without forcing, yet shapes everything it touches. Salt is honest. When it touches a wound, it does not hide the pain, it awakens it. The sting is sharp, but it carries within it the seed of healing. This is the paradox. What hurts can also restore. In life, many try to cover their wounds with distraction or denial. They avoid the sting, hoping silence will heal what is broken. Yet Shaolin wisdom teaches that true growth cannot come from avoidance. Pain is not the enemy. It is the signal that something must be faced. When suffering is met with awareness, it becomes the forge where strength is shaped. Think of a warrior's training. Every strike, every fall, every bruise is felt fully. The body aches, but through that ache, resilience is built. The same is true in spirit. Emotional wounds, regrets, or failures must be touched with awareness, not buried. Like salt on an open cut, the initial burn brings tears, but with time the wound begins to close. This ritual offers that experience in symbolic form. Placing your name into salt water may stir discomfort, bringing memories or emotions to the surface. The water does not numb you, it reveals you. The salt does not punish, it cleanses. Exposure is necessary, because only in light can healing take place. There is mercy in this process. To feel pain is to be alive. To let salt sting is to trust that the wound can heal. To sit with suffering in awareness is to allow transformation. Shaolin teachings remind us suffering plus awareness equals growth. Without awareness, pain is wasted. With awareness, pain becomes teacher, guide, and healer. The sting of salt is temporary. What it leaves behind is lasting. A body cleansed, a spirit lighter, and a name carried with greater strength. Water remembers. Every river carries the trace of mountains it has touched. Every wave holds the story of winds that shaped it. Salt too carries essence. It preserves, it strengthens, it anchors flavor into food and memory into ritual. When these two come together, they speak to something older than words. Symbols like these are not mere decoration. They bypass the surface of the mind and sink into the deeper layers of being. In Shaolin practice, this truth is honored. A movement is never just movement. A breath is never just air. Each gesture, each stance, each rhythm of inhaling and exhaling is a doorway into the unseen. Philosophy is not recited, it is embodied. When you place your name into water salted with intention, you are not only thinking about transformation, you are enacting it. The hand moves, the salt dissolves, the water receives. This is more than ritual, it is alignment of thought, body, and spirit. Your action tells your whole being, this is who I am, and this is who I am becoming. The ancients understood this. They trained not only with words but with forms. A bow carried humility into the bones. A strike carried discipline into the muscles. A silent meditation carried clarity into the breath. Through repetition, the body and mind were shaped together until wisdom was no longer separate from living. It was living itself. In the same way, the saltwater ritual is not confined to the intellect. It reaches into energy. It touches memory. It awakens layers of self that cannot be moved by thought alone. By engaging fully, naming, placing, observing, you allow transformation to sink deeper than ideas. It becomes not something you know, but something you are. A single drop can disturb the stillness of water, but it is the rhythm of rain that shapes the river. The same is true for your practice. One ritual may open a door, but it is the steps you take afterward that decide how far you will travel. Shaolin teachings remind us that mastery is never sudden. It is carved into the body and spirit through countless repetitions, stances held until the legs tremble, breaths counted until the mind quiets, movements repeated until they dissolve into instinct. Each day refines what the day before began. Each effort sharpens what was once dull. The saltwater ritual is no different. To place your name once is powerful, but it becomes transformative when woven into a pattern of discipline. Each time you return to it, you renew your intention. Each time you peel away another layer of doubt, fear, or distraction. Slowly, like stone shaped by flowing water, your inner self is reshaped by persistence. This is not about perfection. It is about direction. A single spark does not light a fire unless it is tended, fed, and protected. The ritual is your spark. Your choices afterward are the firewood. Your daily alignment, how you breathe, how you move, how you carry your name, is what keeps the flame alive. In ancient practice, students were taught that greatness lies in the ordinary. Rising each morning to bow, to breathe, to train seemed simple. Yet in the simplicity was the key. Repetition forged unshakable strength. Let this same truth guide you. Do not chase spectacle. Chase steadiness. Let today's act be the beginning, not the end. From one choice, make many. From one spark, create light enough to guide your whole path. When the ritual ends, the true practice begins. The salt dissolves, the water rests, but what you have touched in spirit must now flow into the hours that follow. If you leave the essence behind in the bowl, its power fades. If you carry it within, it shapes every word, every step, every choice. Shaolin teaching has always held this truth. Training does not end in the hall. The hall is only preparation. The real test is in the marketplace, the home, the road. Every conversation becomes a measure of your discipline. Every decision reveals the steadiness of your mind. The dojo is not four walls. It is the world itself. To live this way is to practice mindfulness in motion. When you speak, let your words carry clarity, not waste. When you act, let your hands move with awareness, not haste. When choices appear, let your response come from stillness, not from impulse. This is how ritual becomes life, and how life becomes practice. Consider the breath. It is the most ordinary rhythm, often unnoticed. Yet in Shaolin, even the breath is sacred. Each inhale draws in presence. Each exhale releases what no longer serves. In the same way, each ordinary moment can be infused with the same awareness you gave to the ritual. Eating, walking, resting, working, each becomes a continuation of the vow you placed into water. Discipline is not built in rare peaks of effort. It is carried in the unnoticed corners of daily living. Self-mastery is not hidden in dramatic victories, but in the quiet consistency of living awake. When you step beyond the ritual, carry its silence with you. Let each breath, each step remind you the practice is never over. It is always here in this moment. Every gesture carries meaning, but only when it is done with awareness. By placing your name in salt water, you are not chasing miracles. You are choosing to live with clarity. You are choosing to release the weight of the past, to face yourself honestly, and to walk forward with discipline. This is the way of self-mastery, not a single act, but a continuous practice of presence. Carry this lesson beyond the ritual. Let it guide how you speak, how you act, how you breathe through each day. Transformation does not arrive in a single moment, it unfolds each time you align intention with action. The more you practice, the lighter your steps become, and the stronger your spirit grows. Walk gently with this wisdom. Let stillness root you, let discipline refine you, and let clarity open the path ahead. If this teaching has spoken to you, support the journey by liking this video and subscribing to our channel, Shaolin Soulfire. Together, we continue to cultivate awareness, strength, and peace.